David.
Hello.
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I mean, as if we didn't just see each other
Just
like
see
2
each
minutes
other.
ago. But
It's
yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to talk to you and just like learn everything, or just learn a little bit more about your background. So I'm excited.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I spent some time putting together that presentation. Made me go through memory lane, so it's all
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah. And for anyone who is joining right now, I am Clarissa Lamb, and I'm your host for today. I am the Science Communications intern as from the Summer Systematics Institute program here at Cal Academy. And David is one of my fellow interns. There are 9 of us this summer. And David, you go ahead and introduce yourself, and I can pull up your slides right now if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, please. Well, like you said, my name is David Canseco. I am an intern here at the SSI 2022. I am from San Bernardino, California, and be transferring to UC Riverside in the fall. I am here working on a spider project with Dr. Sarah Cruz and Kate Montana. And yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about my project a little down the line.
Sweet. And you can control the slides, so go ahead and swipe through.
So pretty much I'll start, right from the beginning. Where am I from? That's sometimes a complicated question for me to answer because I've been lucky to grow up in two very different places. I'm originally from Nuevo Grandes, Chihuahua, Mexico, which is a small little town south of El Paso, Texas. And when I was about 10 years old, I moved out here to San Bernardino, California, where I've been ever since, except for this summer. And yeah, I'm a student at San Bernardino Valley College. I'm studying biology.
Yeah, and you want to talk about how you got into museums and your early experiences with science as well.
Yeah, so first off, SSI has been a dream come true for me. Like you just mentioned, I grew up going to museums since I can remember. My kindergarten field trip was to this museum that you're like currently looking at. It's an anthropology museum that is very, very close to my hometown, very close to where I grew up. The ruins in the center picture are actually like an excavation that was discovered right around that time, and it became it's a museum now. It's UNESCO has been declared like a whole patrimony of humanity. So yeah, ever since I can remember, I would go to this museum and stare at the bones and the pottery and and that eventually turned into, I would call it an obsession with museums. Once we moved out here and I had access to so many more museums. Back at home, I'm Southern California, so back at home, I really love going. I have a lot of museums to visit. Luckily, some of them are near, and some of them I like to travel to. But my favorites are for sure the Museum of Natural History in Los Angeles, which is your top left picture. The center picture and the right picture on the top row are from the La Brea Tar Pits in Los Angeles as well. It's a pretty small museum, but it's great. They have one of my favorite parts is the wall of direwolf skulls that were found in the area. And right next door, we have the California Science Center, which is actually the home for the Endeavour rocket shuttle, the space shuttle. And that eventually got me to go to Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral and just go ahead and look at the NASA museum. So it's all been museums for me ever since I can remember. And landing an internship at the Cal Academy, which is a working museum constantly, has been incredible.
And how did that transition into also a love for biology and the sciences?
Yeah, it's all been a pretty nice circle. So I would, credit two people for my love of biology. I would credit my my grandmother, who pretty much ever since again I can remember, she would rescue living things, either whether it was wasps from her washing machine or she would raise and rescue pit bulls, pit bull dogs. She's the main reason I've kind of been so supportive and an advocate for those dogs, is because she taught me how loving they are. And then my other two pretty huge influences down the road have been my bio professors at my community college, Glenn Drews and Tatiana Vasquez. both of them have been incredible with what they do, with the curriculums they choose, the skills they teach me. And those are a little bit of the things, that I learned to love because of these people. So my grandmother loved pit bulls and living things, and my professor liked fossils. I learned a lot about geology and fossils, ammonites as one of my favorite fossils. You might have heard me during the cohort. And my other favorite animal is an axolotl, which is pretty special little salamander relative that lives only in a very specific part of a lake in Mexico City.
And then what are you doing for the work that you're doing in school? What are you studying?
I'm very lucky with this biology department. I got in pretty okay with them, pretty tight with them, and I wear quite a few hats when I'm at Valley. One of them, I'm what's called a facilitator for the Math and Engineering Science Achievement Program, which is pretty much is my community college's version of a TA for organismal biology and ecology. So I'll review some things with students, I'll tutor them, help with projects, semester projects, stuff like that. I love that it's been able to keep me really fresh and material and skills. Um, Also, another thing I've recently kind of added about is I've always been passionate about social justice work and the state of affairs that are around us, and I feel like science communication, which is what you do, and biology should play a bigger role in a lot of the things we see around here. Science trust is pretty low, and it's going to take a lot of hard work from great writers and communicators to get that trust back up. So when COVID first started, we saw a lot of distrust in our community. Our community college is heavily Hispanic and African American. And a lot of the early surveys and a lot of the early information really showed a big distrust in the medical service because of historic practices to minorities. So my department thought it was a good idea to put together a series of COVID forums aimed primarily at minorities, where we broke it down to the bare minimum. What is a virus? How viruses evolve? What is the importance of mRNA in this pandemic? And we obviously talked about the history of vaccines, the ugly history in America that has come to vaccines and stuff. But I've been very, very lucky to be asked to be part of these different activities. Unknowingly, they prepared me a lot to be here at the Cal Academy. I hear some pictures of just the stuff I do up there that has literally translated to doing it here at a professional level. So on the left are my museum samples for one of my semester projects. I fell in love with the Bonnie aspect of that class, and then I come up here, and in the Bonnie department, they're doing the exact same thing I spent a semester doing. Same with the grasshoppers in the center picture. At first, it feels like it's just a lecture or just a grade, but being able to apply it to an actual work and in a museum has been pretty full circle for me.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing for so many of us, or at least me as well this summer, is being able to actually apply skills that I've learned recently in school has been so wonderful. And also we've been in college during the pandemic, and a lot of people haven't been able to have a hands-on interview, or I mean hands-on like internship or different experiences. And it's been really nice to be able to apply these like technical skills this summer as well.
Yeah, learning them, it's been a challenge. I thought I knew them, I thought I had them down pretty well, but obviously getting up here, there's so much to learn and so much to do. But for sure, having that exposure at an earlier time was really helpful, and to be one of the first SSIs that are back, and to be doing things in person and now remote, and doing a lot of the things that we got to do this summer has been has been really. I'm really excited to take all those skills back and bring them back to the students of my community college, because I just don't get them the skills for myself. I have students that I have to tutor when I get back, and it's going to be interesting to see what's changed.
That's great, David. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing about what I love when I'm living with you. For anyone watching, David and I are roommates, but you just think so much about other people in your community, and it's such like a central part of who you are, and it's just something I always appreciate. But tying back to this summer, and you've talked a little bit about SSI already, but what
Mhm.
are you studying here, and what is the work that you're doing?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. It's We'll try to make it interesting. I was picked to be working with Dr. Sarah Cruz. She works with spiders. She's worked with spiders all around the world, and I'm working on a really, really tiny genus of spiders. They're maybe about the size of a flea, if I'm lucky. And I'm sequencing their DNA to see if we have a relationship between spiders at different localities in the United States. Essentially, one of my favorite ways of breaking it down is I'm doing 23andMe for spiders. We're sequencing them out and we're looking for relatives. Um, if everything goes right and my lab work goes well, I will have some sequences to look at and establish a difference in the population, which is pretty exciting. These spiders were first described in the early 1950s, I want to say, and they've pretty much been ignored ever since. So they've been sitting there for a while. We don't know a whole lot about them. So there's a lot to learn when you have not a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, it's exciting. What has been the most challenging part of the work you've been doing this summer?
I think all the genetics stuff has been pretty challenging. There's a million different buffers to use, liquids, different chemicals and procedures, machines. All of them have very specific protocols and very specific moves I have to make. So I spent quite a more time than I like to admit, double checking with my mentor. I'm like, this is what I'm doing, right? This is the right one. Um, and also another thing I've also been really happy, which is is good to keep in mind, keep in mind is that failure happens here all the time. Failure happens in science. One of the we have very skilled interns that are working here, and they've met brick walls with slight failure. And I think it's part of the process is to learn how to troubleshoot, move on. You can have your sigh and you can have your moment of frustration, but I think the exciting part of the science has been just getting back on it and trying it again. And honestly, to hear experts, people that have published work that are constantly doing this for a living tell you, oh, I've messed up worse than this, it's not that big a deal, just go ahead, it's okay. Or don't even worry about it, it happens all the time, you're just learning, has been extremely liberating and fulfilling because I'm allowed to just focus on my work.
Yeah, definitely. And then this is a bit on a different track, but I know that you've done a lot of botany work or you've had an interest in plant biology before this summer, but it seems like you might be changing track a little bit. Oh wait, you might have a few more SSI slides that you wanna
Uh,
bring
no,
first.
it's okay. Yeah, I'm really excited to answer that question. But yeah, so this is a research part of SSI. It's been real. We're working quite a long time. We have a full time job here. But one of the honestly one of the better parts has been getting to know a lot of all of the roommates I've gotten. I'm working alongside and living with 8 other incredible human beings, and they're great scientists, every single one of them, including yourself. You do science and you communicate it, so it's a really nice thing to find a community that's so like-minded. Um, we do the same things together, even if they're weird at times. We're all looking at the ground. We're all looking at puddles. We're all looking for living things on the ground and in the oceans. And yeah, that sense of community to me has been incredible. These are some of the few things we've gotten to do as a group together. Go to events together, go sightseeing, spend a week in the field. As soon as we got to know each other, we were thrown into 7 days in the field, into complete cold and misery at times. But it was it was a bonding experience. I think that's, aside from all the lab and the amazing museum stuff, the partnerships we've formed have been really great.
It completely came at me at like it was completely surprising to me. I didn't come into this summer thinking I was going to make such strong friendships and connections with all of you.
No, me either. I knew I would have some sort of interactions, and it was going to be bonding because it's 2 months of working and living together. But just no, everybody has different stories and different backgrounds, but the things that we all bond over are all very similar. And they're this museum, they're the work we're doing, and they're the living things we all get to study. And like I said before, having an expert in each one of my cohort members is incredible. To have somebody who knows all about arachnids, or somebody who knows all about frogs or beetles and corals, etc. It's the one thing I was really looking forward to being here, is learning from as many people as I could. And oh my goodness, that's all I've done. It's just learn.
I think when you just put together a group of just like passionately curious people, there's not much that could go wrong. There's so many things that we can like find common ground on.
Yeah, the curiosity is incredible. I grew up in a pretty safe, sheltered place. Curiosity being, especially outside curiosity, wasn't really encouraged. So I didn't start doing that until much later in life. And I think it's incredible to hear everybody's stories. All the biologists that work here and the biologists I'm living with have a one single or two stories that define their careers. And everybody says, is like, how did you get so into frogs? How did you get so into snakes? And everybody has that one conversation where you can see their eyes light up, and you go, oh, that's what it is. I like it here.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a different passion that it's really fun to look at and experience from the outside.
Yeah. And that brings me back to the question I asked you earlier, but you had this passion, or continue to have this passion, for plant biology in school, but this summer you've been studying spiders, something completely different from what you've been studying before. And I think a few of the interns from pretty early on have been hinting that you might be a great mammologist. Animals and mammals might be, your next track. But what are you thinking?
That honestly was an epiphany I didn't even know. I knew. I've always been really into animals, living things, all of them. I'm even really getting to know and enjoy spiders. They're extremely different, and they're almost alien to me because I know so little about them. So having a fountain of knowledge here for spiders has been really cool. And yeah, like you mentioned, there are some things I'm really excited about going back. The summer was a summer of growth. And even though I was committed to plant biology, I'm not so sure that's going to stay the same anymore. Entomology, the camaraderie, the community, all of that. The entomology department here at the academy has been amazing. So I am looking forward to maybe exploring the not so plant side of biology. I really enjoyed systematics, and I enjoyed genetics and all the stuff I've learned before. So yeah, I do see a shift coming soon. I'm not too sure to what, but I have a few ideas. I'll talk to you about it in the next few slides.
Sweet. And yeah, what are your other post SSI future plans?
So I don't the universe put me in a great lab. The mentor I got paired with is somebody who I see has very similar goals and very similar convictions that I have. She's all about advancing science through outreach, conservation, through bringing in people from marginalized communities or people that are not as represented in the field of academia and biology in general. So knowing that before I got here, knowing that I am into activism and social justice work and all of those things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what projects are available for me to work on. I know Islands and Seas a great project that supports conservation and does outreach through to a lot of communities that are being taught how to be biologists and how to conserve their lands. This is a big project, and it's got a lot of really good what's the word? It's got a good mission statement. They want to do really good things about it. And same with the nonprofit Entomologists of Color I've just recently learned about, which is a nonprofit that um, tries to advance the careers of entomologists, of POCs in entomology. I was lucky to go to a arachnology conference, and while it was great, I did see that the field is pretty. It's yeah, it's very similar all around, and
And some diversity
yeah, the diversity, it's lacking some diversity for sure.
on
So I'm
many fronts.
absolutely. So I feel like campaigns like this, Entomologists of Color, Silence and Seas, and everything that my mentors personally got her hands on is something I definitely would like to stick around, just because there's no way I found one of the mentors in the academy that does the most outreach, and there's many ways for me to participate. I also want to explore arachnology some more and hopefully stick around.
Yeah, I think that's the goal for a lot of the interns this summer. Is we've just had an amazing time and are trying to figure out how to keep our keep our positions here, keep our foot in the door.
Keep our foot in the door for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Any last things you want to add? And I guess also just to point out, yeah, your mentor is Dr. Lauren Esposito.
Yeah, Dr. Lauren Esposito. I want to take it's pretty much her, the lab, the directors are running SSI. Just because we're all here, we've been here for 6 weeks now, and we've been treated incredibly well. We've been taught, we've been giving a lot of skills and a lot of knowledge that are going to help us in the long run. Lauren has been incredible with not just running the program, but looking out for us interns, making sure we have opportunities, and the next step. It's not just an internship. The next steps are being spoken about, and it's very exciting to a lot of interns. Also, my mentor in the center, which is Kate Montana, she's a master's student here, and she's just the greatest mentor I could have gotten here. She's extremely patient, and yeah, and last but not least, the Esposito lab, which is the arachnology lab that I got paired with. There are a lot of members in that lab that immediately made the members of the cohort feel welcome, and they offer their knowledge. I'm extremely lucky to be here. And well, almost done saying my thank yous. Actually, I have one more thank you to give, which is all of you, all of the interns that are here with us, all 8 of you that are part of the program.
Is that the frog clock in the herpetology lab?
Yeah, so I'm in the herpetology lab, and they have a great clock that every hour does frog calls. This should be, I don't know the frog yet. I'll learn it.
It's 5 o'clock. 5 calls. It's 5.
Yeah.
It's run 5 minutes early though.
Oh wow, maybe so they can stay on time.
Yeah.
But anyways, before that frog yelled at me, I feel like the friendships we've made this past month and a half, 2 months, are going to be long lasting. A lot of the people that work here at the academy know each other and talk about each other from years in the past, and they say things like, oh yeah, we were in undergrad together and now we're co-directing our own things, or oh yeah, I know this person, we did SSI together. So that I'm really excited to see where the rest of these extremely talented interns go. I'm going to be watching closely because, again, I've learned so much from every single one of them. I've been so mind blown by every single one of the people in this program that I'm going to keep tabs with all of you.
I'm really excited to just see where everyone goes. I look forward to meeting up like 10, 20 years down the road.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, we're gonna have a lot of stuff to look through and see where our lives and careers change. We've done a pretty good job of documenting this time here with pictures and videos and memories. So they'll be around for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining me, David. Is any last comments?
No, thank you for talking to me. I'm really excited about what's to come for us and for the rest of the things here. I'm excited for outreach, um, and see what happens. Thank you for thank you for the interview.
Yeah. I'll see you later, David. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.